They say we live in a post-Christian society. I reject that. You can reject that. Storylines involving the occult, witchcraft, demons, and even satanic elements are commonplace in mainstream programming. We are under an assault on our sense of virtue. Do not let mainstream media's shallow depictions of sexuality and sexual irresponsibility deceive you. We're enduring an affront to the innate holiness we are all imbued with and called to, and an attack on the family structure and the sacredness of the gift of life.
Jonathan Roumie, who plays Jesus in hit Christian series The Chosen, has absolutely eviscerated the dark anti-Christian Hollywood regime on stage in front of hundreds of thousands of people in the face of major Hollywood scandals like Epstein, Weinstein, P. Diddy, and more. This is the most shocking speech and rally I think I've ever heard from a man of faith, and it's even at a countercultural March for Life rally. As you watch this, I want you to think about how you can pray for Jonathan, because this type of thing will absolutely put an irrevocable target on his back. But this is exactly the type of bold, almost recklessly bold faith we need on display in this world, and that we must display on this channel. This is Make Faith Famous. Please subscribe if you want to support real Christian content on YouTube. And without further ado, let's hear Jonathan's brutally honest, genuinely shockingly powerful speech.
For some time now, we have been witnesses to a mounting polarity between light and dark. We've seen it manifest itself in many facets of culture. But I would like to address it as I see it as an artist in the entertainment industry. In the last several years, there's been a sharp and disturbing increase in the darkness of the imagery being used in film, television, and music. The landscape has become increasingly sinister, and in some cases, even demonic in tone, more so than in previous years, sometimes subliminal, oftentimes overt. Storylines involving the occult, witchcraft, demons, and even satanic elements are commonplace in mainstream programming. Many feature spiritually and psychologically disturbing content. And before you jump on me, no, I'm not specifically referencing a certain bespectacled wizard, though a few folks might disagree, but I'm referring to the media, which is even more ominous. And I don't need to name names. You know it when you see it. The youngest of us and the most vulnerable, as well as those who are not grounded in a solid faith in God, are susceptible to the influences of these images. Media has become a portal to behavior and attitudes kids want to emulate that reject God, reject the light, and reject ultimately all those aspects of community which give life. I have observed God subtly but radically being removed from popular culture over the last couple of decades, replaced with some of the most corruptive images and ideologies for young hearts and minds. And any of us who profess any kind of faith are branded as fundamental or condemned for their beliefs with the assertions of the religiosity of a Pharisee. This is completely contrary to what it means to have a relationship with Jesus Christ and follow his teachings. If only the rest of the world actually took the time to explore what it means to follow Jesus' heart. Yes, there are always individual exceptions, unfortunately, but for the majority of believers, God is love, and true love gives way to life, not death. They say we live in a post-Christian society. I reject that. You can reject that. Change the culture by impacting the culture. Embrace that which is bigger than you. He who gave you abundant life and he who has called you by name. Do not be afraid. Mute the noise of the popular and embrace the counterculture of Christ's love and the message he offers you. The road is wide which leads to destruction, and many will enter it. So enter through the narrow gate, my dear friends, for therein lies the kingdom of heaven. Social media sites rife with images of hypersexuality, predominantly young women some of them who are major influencers, give the youngest of our digitally consuming generation the impression that that is how you're supposed to look, that this is how you're supposed to think and feel and act to get what you want, to get who you want, to be what you're supposed to be, as if some fantasy of aesthetic perfection is the road to happiness. It is not.
I just want to interject real quick here, just like 30 seconds, and say that this whole speech really moves me almost to tears because I'm the father of very young kids, and I guess I'll reveal here that they're girls. And so I get kind of choked up when Jonathan here rails against the harms of social media and influencers and all that, especially on our young girls and women. But what stands out to you so far? Let me know in the comments below.
As if by objectifying yourself, you will somehow be empowered. That is an empty lie of the enemy. Do not let mainstream media's shallow depictions of sexuality and sexual irresponsibility deceive you into thinking that such an approach to love and relationships is without consequences. It isn't. And this is part of the systemic issue that brings us here today. I know how difficult it can be to think differently, to swim against the current, to choose life in a culture that celebrates death. You know, standing here saying these things to you now was neither the obvious career choice nor an easy decision for me, because I've never set foot in this arena before, publicly. But ultimately, I had no choice. This guy made me do it. And I'm a better man for it. A few years ago, I made a commitment to follow the promptings of the Spirit, and I stand by it, and it's why I'm here today. So I'll leave you with a few final thoughts. We are under an assault on our sense of virtue. We're enduring an affront to the innate holiness we are all imbued with and called to, and an attack on the family structure and the sacredness of the gift of life. But as ones created in the image and likeness of God, who is himself love, we are charged to be the standard bearers who defend and preserve the dignity of every human, but especially the most vulnerable, which begins with the initial stages of life and continues throughout the entire cycle, from conception through that phase we all aim to enter into, our golden years, followed by the final stages of our earthly existence. Nannies and pop-pops, every one of us, if we are called to it. How can you make a difference? Examine and expose the areas of darkness in your world, in your community, in your immediate society that need your light, and bring it everywhere you go. Change the culture by impacting the culture.
That's powerful. Change the culture by impacting the culture. And I don't know about you, but I do really see that happening more so nowadays. Is it just me, or do you see that too? I think speeches like this and videos like this do a lot of good for popularizing faith, for changing the culture from a sort of nihilistic, atheistic, dreary culture to one full of life, full of grace, one that promotes self-sacrificial love, the love of Christ. And that's really why I started this channel, right? Well, to really promote this countercultural faith, and thank God that it's really blown up into a full movement, and you can be a part of this movement and show your support by grabbing one of our awesome Make Faith Famous hats from our online store, which can be found via scanning the QR code or the link under this video. Our hats are incredible, attention grabbers and conversation starters. I know this from experience because I'm literally always getting looks when I wear it in public, and it's got the powerful slogan on the front with one of my favorite Bible verses on the back, Matthew 5:16, which is about us Christians being a light to the world. Make sure to pick yours up. You never know who'll benefit from seeing it. All right, enough from me. Let's watch Jonathan close out this amazing speech.
Raise your voice. Vote with your resources, financial, spiritual, and temporal. My commitment to impacting the culture as an artist is to pray I get to continue participating in telling stories like The Chosen that shine a light on the struggles and successes of the human condition, stories that uphold human dignity and reveal God's truth, an infinite love for his people despite our inherent flaws. And we are all so very beautifully flawed, perhaps myself most of all. But we are not alone. He has lived as one of us, and that brings us into communion with him. By honoring the life that God gave you, by bringing your gifts to the world with love and compassion, you will be creating an environment of holiness which the most impressionable in our society will draw their examples from. And to help rewire the attitudes of society's collective consciousness, steering it back towards the preservation and value of life, restoring respect for faith and true religious tolerance, and healing some of our beloved nation's wounds in the process, while hopefully planting us more deeply within God's grace. It's been an honor to be with you here. Thank you for inviting me. God bless you.
This was, without a doubt, one of the most powerful speeches for Christianity I've ever seen. Stronger than, frankly, most sermons I've seen. And I just adore how he used this platform to not just talk about pro-life versus pro-choice. He didn't just make it a political thing. But Jonathan made this about the broader idea of life, of Christian life, of how God truly values the full breadth of our lives. If you've made it to this point of this video, thank you so much. And I have just one favor to ask, and that's if you could actually share this video on social media, WhatsApp, email, whatever you've got, because this is one of the most unifying and powerful messages for our time. And I personally can't think of a single Christian, Catholic, heck, even people of other religions or no religion that wouldn't benefit from watching this. And just let me know in the comments if you've shared this or plan on sharing it, and I'll just be forever grateful. And I think you'll really have made an impact in some people's lives. And if you don't mind, I'll pray for Jonathan Roumie real quick. So, Father God, I lift up Jonathan to you, not as an idol, not as the real Jesus or anything, but as powerful warrior for you, as a beacon and inspiration for all of us. Thank you for imbuing him with your spirit, for giving him that boldness and peace that only you can provide. Protect him, Father, from the forces that might try to silence him, and by extension, the forces that might try to extinguish the light we all try to shine. I know in my own life I've needed a message like this, and I thank you for the opportunity and the audience you've given me to serve you in making faith famous. Amen. God bless you all.